We have on the phone Carlos from Texas. Are you with us, Carlos?
Hi, how are you, Andy?
Good. How are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. What can
Andy,
you look at?
I'm calling regarding this dollar index, and
Okay.
seems like it's hitting these lows with volume, but do you see any impact from the reports coming, they call it key reports from Japan and some kind of, I don't know if the Bank of, the Central Bank of Europe is going to have some type of meeting? Do you see any positive impact, or you see it hitting it to a lower ground?
Look, I think that eventually, I think that the economic condition in Europe is a lot better than what monetary policy, the current state of monetary policy dictates. And I think that the ECB is going to have to turn around. I think they're going to have to end QE, and I think they're going to have to start jacking up interest rates sooner rather than later. Remember, they're at negative 40 basis points. I think that's very bearish for the dollar. And I think that that perception that the ECB is going to do that is very detrimental. Now I have a long-term chart of the dollar, like a yearly chart. And Carlos, what I've seen in the dollar from 1985 to 1992, 7-year bear market. Then it went on a bullish run from 92 all the way to 2001, 9 years bullish. Then 7 years bearish until 2008, and we just ended in 2017 the last 9 year run up. So now, based on what I see as patterns here, we could get a very prolonged period of dollar weakness. So I'm pretty bearish on the dollar, and that's making me very bullish on commodity prices. And that's the long-term view. But I think that the ECB will be the one that pushes the dollar off the end of the cliff.
Wow. Well, can I say something very quick?
Sure.
I was expecting the dollar to get really to get a strong hit over the weekend after the shutdown, but actually didn't happen. And I was expecting the metals because I was a little bit negative on on platinum, which I may ask you later on. Well, I was expecting them to spike, and actually didn't happen. And I was kind of disappointed that they didn't do it until today. They had a little bit of action.
I think the market totally discounted this government shutdown as politics. And actually, the dollar should have rallied after the shutdown ended yesterday. It really should have rallied. I mean, listen, it should rally on a lot of things. It should rally on the fact that we'll probably get 5 interest rate hikes this year of 25 basis points. It should rally on a 1.25% Fed funds rate versus a negative 40 basis point ECB short-term rate and a negative 40 Japanese central bank short-term rate. It should rally on a lot of things. It should rally on the economy here. It should be but it's not rallying. And when markets don't rally, when they have fundamentals behind them, there's real underlying weakness. And I think this administration wants to see the dollar a lot lower, and they will do a lot to get it that way to improve the trade balance. That's my view.
Yeah. Can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Andy. I tried 2 times to short the platinum. I spoke to Tom, and he told me not to do it. Actually, I had a very small short. I came out break even on that one, and I re-short again, which I the night before yesterday, and I did it very well on that short. But I covered it this morning because I noticed that the platinum bounced back, and on that chart, if you can please, if you have the opportunity to look at on the daily chart, there was a bearish candle right there, bullish engulfing. Is that?
Yeah, I see. We got a reversal.
I missed that part. Can you repeat that again, please?
You know, I see we got a bearish key reversal on platinum yesterday. What's the reason? Are you just shorting platinum on technicals,
no,
Carlos?
Actually, this is what I do, Andy. I'm most of the time up in the European session. And
yes.
when that happens, I notice there's always a spike. And my time here in Texas is around 2 o'clock in the morning. Pacific time, it's around 12. So I don't know Eastern time, but I used to live in California, so I try to manage the Pacific time too. And the thing is, I notice around the time when the European markets open, they always either spike it down or up. And I always take the opportunity because at the morning, it tends to be that either bounce back or do something like invalid the previous action.
Right. I think
night.
what you're doing is you're trading around the platinum fixing time in Britain at around 10 o'clock in the morning. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, probably, and
Yes.
There is usually, probably some producer selling or some consumer buying on that fixing price, but I'd be very cautious, Carlos, because I really think that platinum is a sleeping giant, and I think that the price of platinum is going much higher because at a discount to gold and a discount to palladium, industrial users are going to turn to platinum here, and
Yeah.
I think that what we've seen is just the beginning. I think I think platinum's heading appreciably higher from here. So on a short-term basis, fine, but be careful.
I think so too, but I notice every time it hits around these highs, Andy, there's some in the weekly. I look at the resistance areas, and I'm just trying to make some quick scalp, just to wait until it pulls back because it's been moving since the middle of December, I think, up, and there's been no actually retracement until yesterday, and that I'm not sure right now. I'm not long, but I'm waiting for a pullback in the near future to get in and a more decent price as well in gold.
I think that's the wise thing. But just keep those stops very tight, Carlos.
Yes, because see, right now every time I turn the TV, everybody's talking about gold. In December, nobody wants gold.
Yeah. No, I know. Now everyone wants gold. And you know what? Hey, silver. I think silver's starting to look pretty good.
Yeah,
here
I like
too.
that.
I like the action there. Listen, you have anything you want to hang on through the break and continue?
Well, I will.
Because I got to take a commercial. Stay with me. We can talk more. Stay with us, folks. We are talking with Carlos from Texas. Are you still with us, Carlos?
Yes, I'm here. Andy.
Excellent. So we were talking a little bit about platinum and silver before the break. Anything else you want to kind of look at?
Well, I would like to get your opinion on the effect of this falling dollar in the markets. It seems like in the past was an issue.
I'm sorry, what did you want my thoughts on? I didn't understand. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the dollar, as it's falling, seems like it's not hurting the indices. And in the past, seems like it was an issue, and now seems like it's not.
Well,
do you see
the dollar falling, Carlos, is really good for U.S. multinational companies. And, it makes, first of all, it makes U.S. much more competitive on the global scene, which will add to profits for multinationals, which will add to the tax base. Also, since the U.S. is a large producer of agricultural commodities, namely corn and soybeans, and a major exporter of wheat in the world, it will make our grains much more attractive on global markets for exports, and the bottom line is that, with the U.S. economic engine humming better these days than it has been, the lower dollar is just going to exacerbate that, and that's been pretty good for the economy. Now, my comments on the dollar, about 9 years of bull and 7 years of bear in a pattern since 1985, that really has nothing to do with the current administration or anything. It's just a pattern that I've seen kind of develop. Look, in 2014, the dollar was down at 78.93 it was below 80 on the dollar index. We're still just below 90. I think this dollar has a lot of room on the downside here. I really do. It just feels that way. And that's very bullish for raw material prices in general. And you know what? I don't think it'll necessarily slow down the stock market.
Wow. So it's possibly that it's going to keep going higher, huh? Wow.
The stocks, well, the stocks are tough. I mean, listen, they're in lofty levels. The multiples on stocks are high. We have a difficult geopolitical risk level. I like diversification into commodities here because I think that the lower dollar is highly supportive, and I do think that we're seeing inflationary winds blow, and that's I think that I think inflation figures are going to really pick up big time if we get some crazy weather this year, and the agricultural crops are not what they have been for the last 5 years, and prices start to rise. If we see that, that'll feed right through into CPI numbers and into inflation data, and then we're going to have an inflation scare because inflation won't go to the 2% Fed target limit. It might go to 3, 4, or 5%, and then you're going to see the central bank start to panic.
Wow. Well,
so
it's good to
I'm
hear
looking for volatility, Carlos.
Andy, and I really appreciate your comments.
My pleasure. Have a great night, and thanks so much for calling in.
Not a problem.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, so